Hi Pisces, welcome to Ethernal Realms. Welcome to your April reading. We will get into your tarot in just a sec. I just want to mention some major things happening this month astrologically. First, we have a solar eclipse. It's a time of the new moon, and both the sun and the moon are in the very last degree of Aries during this eclipse. And as soon as the eclipse is over, the moon moves into Taurus, and so does the sun, and we have a brand new zodiac season, which is Taurus season. That will be activating your third house here, and April activates your second house of finances, self-esteem, and the things that you prioritize and value. So whenever we have things happening on the very cusp, there is a sense of urgency to it, and it's kind of a doubling down effect on an already intense aspect going on. Eclipses are no joke, and they bring about some major life changes, fateful changes as well. It's kind of like, okay, so this is happening. Either get on board or get, have a difficult time basically. Because honestly, these are some events where if we are rolling along with them and we are like in stride with them, then it's completely okay, and we can like stay on top of the difficult, not difficult, but like the hectic period that comes before us. We can also take advantage of situations that are presented to us, and there can also be like major breakthroughs in areas of life that you have been struggling in. So if you have like financial issues at this moment, or you're having to like save a lot or be very stringent or things like that, then over here it can be some type of financial decision you make, and then you immediately have a conversation about it, or another opportunity comes to you as a result of that thought, and therefore you have a brand new beginning taking place, like with the new moon situation here, which kind of majorly boosts you. So I'm not going to get very much into this about what it means for you specifically, but I'm really curious what it does mean for you, so I'm going to make a zodiac specific solar eclipse reading, especially for you Pisces. Okay, so stay tuned for that, subscribe and hit the bell. You will be notified when it's out. Another major thing happening here is Mercury is going retrograde for the first time in 2023, and it's doing so in Taurus. Okay, so a little bit about the Mercury timeline. On the 3rd of April, we have Mercury entering Taurus. Then we have on the 7th, Mercury entering shadow zone. So this is where the mind starts to slow down. We begin to have some miscommunications. There can be some frustrations as well because we don't feel like working as much. We're looking for a little bit of a break, or we want to do something a little bit different to kind of switch things up, be excited again, and so on and so forth. So be watchful for miscommunications and so on already starting from the 7th. Make sure you reread your emails, think about what you're going to say before you say it, plan a little bit deeper, or sit on your plans before you actually execute them. Especially in the time of the retrograde, which happens on the 21st of the month, we are needing to go inward, be more reflective, redo certain things that we have done before, edit certain documents, revise certain plans, or just take it easy, relax and recuperate. The best use of Mercury going retrograde is either meditation, introspection, or it is to travel somewhere, get a new perspective, something that you would not usually do. Okay, so of course everyone has a different lifestyle, and not everyone can take a break every time Mercury goes retrograde. So yes, the major points to keep in mind is to not sign major documents, and not have like permanent contracts of any type. Like you might feel, not, I'm not saying permanent contract, but like commitments. Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at. So no major commitments where you really can't get out of it, or if you do, then there is like a huge penalty for you. That's not really the wisest choice here. So be very careful about your promises. Also gadgets, short-term travel plans, things like that can go through some like random blips of not working and then working, and then it's like a mysterious reason of like why it doesn't work. Those times when you just switch off and switch on, and then all of a sudden everything's fine again, right? It's kind of that phase where you're trying to figure something out, but the mind is kind of just asleep somehow. Okay, if you would isolate it as a separate individual or separate part of you, it's like, oh, it's just not playing a role anymore. Okay, and it stays retrograde till May 15th, and it will get out of shadow zone on the May 31st. So ideally, all major choices and decisions, travel bookings, plans, commitments, signing, all of these things should begin from June. Okay, but obviously everyone has different plans and so on. So kind of take it as it resonates. Just during the retrograde phase, especially be like extra careful. One thing which would be an advantage is if you have a friend or if you have someone, you have Mercury, which is retrograde in your natal chart already, then those people or you can be very advantaged around this time. You will notice things that other people generally miss. Okay, and you might not know like what's so hard about this, why aren't people noticing this or seeing this, but it's because you have Mercury retrograde and you're already accustomed to this way of movement. Okay, so yes, that's a little bit of a trick of, if you have to sign documents, contact someone who already has retrograde in their chart when they were born, and that will help you out. Alright, so we have a full moon as well. We'll get into this in just a sec. I don't know why I already picked it up, but okay, we have a full moon in Libra. That's on the 6th of the month, and the same day we have Mercury joining with North Node in Taurus. So there can be a conversation about your shared resources or the people who are paying you. Are you getting it from, or rather, like, who is your source of income? That could be a question that comes in. Or you're like investigating a little bit as to how you can enhance your savings, maybe make some investments, maybe you're doing something a little bit out of the norm. And in order to do that, you need to get to know a lot more information because it's still a new idea that you have. Okay, so sit with it, think it through before you make final choices, but this full moon will definitely illuminate those things for you. Also, there can be a question of like, what is your priority and what are your shared values and priorities with someone that you are connected with, like a romantic partner or even a business partner here. Okay, you might be talking about different priorities that different people have, and hence have different levels of courage and motivation for different types of tasks and so on. The way that you earn your money can also be changing. You might have a very interesting idea, and while you have not done this before, it's just very exciting and compelling to you, almost like it is magnetizing you to the idea itself. Okay, so watch for those things. Maybe there will be the opportunity that if this is a fresh new idea, then you're going to have to research on it and go through all of these thoughts that are coming through for you while Mercury is retrograde, and that would be a very optimum use of that time actually. So if you have some thoughts of where to stay, what to do, and how you could communicate the things you want to be reading or changing your mindset, things like that, that idea comes on the 6th, and then you think about it, slowly develop it, learn more and more, talk to people who are relevant to you and all that. And by the time May is done, or at least 3rd week of May, you will have a lot more clarity and you can move forward with like full force. On the 11th, we have Venus moving into Gemini, and that would be in your 4th house. Yes, it would be in your 4th house, and that's about your home and family and also your private self. So there can be a lot of clarity that you get from your own self through meditation or introspection. Your sleep time, your relaxation moments could be extra rewarding. You might read something in your spare time, for example, or you're like learning something on the side that's just very deeply satisfying here. The 4th house is a very core and deep part of ourselves, and it basically symbolizes the things you do only by yourself. You would not even share that with your partner. Maybe your family members know about it as a result of you guys cohabitating, but not really something you would actively go out and share. Okay, so those things you're really enjoying doing here with Venus over there. There can also be some blessings and some extra bonuses or some financial blessings that could come through with your home and family here. Your family could be gaining something, and as a result you're feeling happy for them, or you could be benefiting from them. That can be a way of Venus expressing itself. You can also be doing some like home decoration, room decoration, kind of rearranging things to make yourself feel good, kind of vibe with it, to have some sort of dynamism, a little bit of a social vibe perhaps, or just if you're like wanting to focus a little bit more, then you have some mentally stimulating images or something like that. Okay, that's kind of up to you. Everyone has their own choices, of course. Those were some examples. 11th in itself is a pretty lucky day. We have Sun joining with Jupiter in Aries, so that's a financially blessed time for you. There are also a couple more aspects going on through the month. I will not talk about all of them over here. I will post about them in my community page, so if you're curious, you can subscribe, hit the bell, you will be notified, and also you can see the previous posts so you can see if those resonate for you. All right, we have the third quarter moon coming up with Harvest as the major theme of the month. We have Victory in some endeavor as the first major highlight. We have the second major highlight as Beware of Self-Delusion. Alrighty, and we have Dagger, which says Fear, Worries, and Tense Situations. Okay, we're going to get into this. I'm really curious what exactly this is talking about. I think one thing that I can say is around the full moon here, you might get like a lot of communication that's going on. Anything that North Node touches, it's like amping it up. And Mercury is the planet of the mind and communication. Maybe like different people are reaching out to you and they want a lot of questions answered. Maybe you're the only one who knows about a certain topic, so you just have to communicate, even if you would love to like do your own thing and be by yourself, or like take care of yourself basically. With like Neptune still being in your sign, it is very much like you are being very Pisces around this time, and even Saturn coming through, but it's still at the beginning stages, so Saturn is still kind of working through as to how we can establish more structure in your Piscean nature, whether that is your sun, moon, or rising here. But there can be, whenever Saturn transits, let's say your moon sign, okay, I have this just now, Saturn was in Aquarius, that's where my moon sign is, and for the entire time that it was there, I really did go through a period of like self-delusion and then disillusionment of those delusions, and changing up my goals completely, kind of seeing my family in a different light and trying to work through certain family issues as well. It's in my 4th house, but also I was trying to structure my emotional well-being, like how do I understand my emotions better? How can I cope with difficult emotions? Because, you know, ignoring it or denying it, obviously it doesn't work. It just has a way of coming out because it's such an intrinsic part of us. And you're also a water sign, so you're definitely attuned to that moon quality, okay? So yes, Saturn brought in a lot of shakeups, but also a lot of structure as it was doing that. It's just like, that's wrong, that's okay, that can stay, but that one needs to go right now. Okay, so he's just like, this is how it is. Okay, it's plain and simple, this is how it is. It's not going to sugarcoat stuff. So that can feel a little bit difficult if you're not used to that energy, but you know, you'll get accustomed to it if that's the case here. Not in a bad way, you're just going to have to see, and you can because you're so intuitive, and Saturn in Pisces respects intuition and is trying to make that a structured thing. With Pisces, it's kind of like intuition comes and goes, you recognize it, you respond to it, and then you move on from it. You're not able to, not everybody is able to like engage it intentionally, right? So Saturn here can be like, look, if you listen to your soul, if you listen to your intuition, you can know this from the get-go, whether this connection is right for you, whether this habit or job or mindset is right for you, how you can trust your own feelings, you can know by yourself. And the purpose of Saturn doing all of these things, why he's the master, is because he's helping you master yourself. Okay, your emotional body, your mental body, your focus, your core essence, how you can showcase that in a very strong light and be the best that you can be. That's the intention here. So fear, worries, and tense situation is not really necessary from your own side, although it can feel a little bit like that when we have the first lessons popping up. All right, then we have intelligence and mental beauty. Yeah, we talked about the mind a lot, so I'm not going to describe this anymore, but this is really talking about other people looking up to you because of your communication or intelligence and knowledge. We have unanimity and harmony. It's sort of like, yeah, it's sort of like everyone just agrees that you know something better, or that, you know, you got this, and it's like a united effort, united force. And this can be even your family members, like, you know, they're directly coming to you instead of trying to solve anything themselves because they know that you got this, you've dealt with this, so you can help them out. And also the fear, worries, and tense situations might even be in your family circumstances, but again, victory being the first major highlight, it's sort of like, there is a problem, can you solve it? Yeah, of course I can. It's that quick. It's not really sustained for very long. At least that's not how it feels to me. Okay, then we have the Six of Cups coming through. Let's see all of the tarot, then I'll talk about it. We have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, we have the Lovers. All right, we have two sixes coming through, which talks about that harmony and the unanimity. There is a flow as well. Yeah, we have Two of Pentacles juggling a lot of tasks. Eight of Pentacles is having a lot of tasks. And we have the World. Okay, so you're a pretty chill sign. So I guess the busyness itself might be causing you some worries and tenseness. There might be some deadlines that are part of this month for you, and you have to kind of move things around a bit to make that fit or make it work. Some of you could be traveling somewhere and you're like trying to finish up certain tasks and kind of fix your routine before you go, because you don't want to be burdened or worried about something while you are away having a nice time. The Two of Pentacles also talks about having to balance your work and play, making sure that you are slotting in your own personal hours as well, that you deserve to be introspecting or caring for yourself, taking walks in nature, whatever it is that makes you really happy, doing some poetry and things like that. The Lovers is the Gemini card, and we do have Venus in Gemini. Like I said, you could be making some like home choices or some decisions that your family is making. You're kind of weighing in on it, your opinion, your options over here, as to what works best for you, something like that. Now, the Six of Cups with the Lovers can indicate some exes coming around here, or you're starting a communication again. Maybe you're looking at where you are right now in life. You might have done a lot of work yourself, and so has the other person, and you've gone through your own personal journeys, and now there is a chance of reunion. So you're definitely having a conversation to see how it can go, if it's even possible or practical, things like that. So the Pentacles here talk about, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. There is no self-delusion if you look at the practical circumstances, okay? The delusion can be that this is my soulmate and this just has to work. I'm going to force it to work, or I'm going to make it work, okay? That is, to one extent, of course, that is needed, because if we don't try, then of course nothing is going to happen. But at the same time, it's very important to see if you can manage the practical situation, because you might be in a long distance connection, but you feel like the relationship is just too good, something like that, and maybe travel is totally possible, but like the Dragon says, you might be underestimating the amount of finances you need to make the move or make the travel in order to reconnect, and maybe it just looks very rose-colored glasses and beautiful at first glance, but it might not be very practical down the line. So like I said, use the Mercury retrograde phase to evaluate all of these options here, whether it pertains to romantic relationships or financial opportunities or travel plans. Think it through, because it's really going to help you make the best choice for yourself and everyone involved. I see this harmony card here, and like I said, the two sixes indicate harmony. So ultimately, you're going to make the choice that is best suited for everyone involved. It's just a question of the in-between. Do you want that journey to be a little bit more stressful than otherwise, or would you want to just wait it out, to kind of be peaceful in your state, see it through, work it through, have a trial run if that's something that's needed in your situation, and see if it works, fix the kinks, figure out other solutions which can be a lot more smooth and practical, a lot more efficient for everyone involved as well. Okay, so take it in a very constructive way this month. There can be a very strong level of headway that you can make over here, regardless of what situation we're talking about. If you're looking for work, this can indicate some connections from the past are very useful in helping you land a job, or to help you get a raise in some way, because your potential is very high. Now, the Eight of Pentacles says that you're very skilled in whatever you do, and you have a lot of experience as well, either or. And that is definitely being showcased or noticed. I think you're making it a habit now to show it a lot more. The Two of Pentacles feels like I'm doing my work over here on the ground, and now I have to throw it out there, I have to show it into the world and be like, look, I made this and I'm so happy about this, and so on, right? So the world after that indicates that that choice that you made here is going to have some major implications now for the future. Work on your thing and perfect it to the fullest, as best as you can, of course, depending on what you're doing, during the retro phase. That's like ideal, because after that, there's like nothing stopping you. The reconsideration phase that we have is really like, okay, let's sit down and have a chat about this. Are you sure? Are you really, really sure? Have you seen everything? Did you look at everything? Did you check everything? Did you talk to everyone involved? You know, it's really asking you, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? We'll see about that. We'll see. We'll see. When the time is right, the time is right. You will know when you know. That whole vibe is what the retro phase is about. And if you do that, then there is no way that the decisions you make afterward are not going to be in alignment with you. Okay, so just have faith, have some patience if you're wanting to showcase something major, because you want it to be successful. You want that relationship to work, your work to shine, your travel plans to be successful, right? You don't want any hurdles here. Nobody wants that for you, Pisces, right? So we're going to be patient here, and once Mercury is straight again, book your tickets, book that interview, make that appointment, publish your work, and so on and so forth, whatever it is you're doing. Oh, I didn't talk about the harvest there. I just got very involved with the other cards. The harvest here can indicate that there are some results that you're already seeing of your efforts, okay? Some conversations you have had previously, you're seeing that it has some effect. Some promises you made to yourself, you're keeping to them. You wanted to establish a certain habit, and you can see that it's possible. You see that that's happening. So, and also the opposite can happen, that certain things you took on which are not working out for you, but you see certain results, and that helps you modify along the journey before we get to that full moon phase. Okay, this I think is the very beginning portion. I don't know why it's coming up in the major theme, but I guess through the ups and downs and all the aspects that we have going on this month, you're just learning a little bit more and showcasing yourself a bit more, self-expressing and so on. Of course, we can't go from like 0 to 100 in like 1 second, right? So take your time, do your thing, feel confident about yourself. It's just really, it's a process. I think it's a process kind of month, but whatever the process is, you're winning at it ultimately. So that's nice. Pisces, please, how's the month of April? What else do we need to know? We have the South Node, 8th house, and Taurus. Alright, so you can be getting some either benefits from investment, savings, government help, something like that, which is not really your personal income. Or it can be that you are gathering a little bit more income here, you have a little bit more work and some growth you are seeing here, and you want to redirect that to your shared resource or into your savings. That's one thing. The South Node, yeah, there can be a feeling of you've known this person before. Okay, so of course, if you're exes, then of course you will, you have known them before. But if this is a brand new person here, it can still have that feeling of connectedness, and as though you have been, not going to say intimate in that way, but you have been intimately connected before, but you don't really know them from this lifetime. 8th house is kind of like, I have a vague memory. It's like a repressed memory perhaps, or like a suppressed one that comes from previous lifetimes, especially when we have the South Node there. But it makes you feel automatically very comfortable with this person. You can just get down and have a real conversation here. We can discuss the practicalities of things. You can figure things out. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. You can still have that, chat with them. So it makes you feel very strong when you're with this person. And same goes with like your passions and things you're very instantly drawn and magnetized towards. You feel very secure in the decisions that you're making here, because it's kind of utilizing the skills that you already have in some way. Okay, so you've been practicing for it, you've been researching on it, things of that nature. You've done this before in some measure, and that's going to be useful for you. 8th house is where we have the secret superpower, and it's sort of like the way that you do something that's like very unique to everyone, right? So the way that you approach a subject, the way you see it, that's very unique, and it just really can't be replicated. It might be very simple, it's very straightforward, or it just makes sense in that moment, and you might even see something that's so obvious but other people don't see it. It's just your perspective, okay, that's being showcased and being very valuable in this month. I think that's where people are coming in towards you and being magnetized here. There can also be some transformations of fears. Okay, so there's fear, worries, and tense situations. Could be something from the past. An ongoing situation that's here. The South Node indicates that's like losing steam. We're moving on from that. We have to go into the next new cycle now. So we're going to sort it out right now. We're going to fix it in this particular month. All right, so that's what I have for you, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope the reading resonated and that it helps you out. More importantly, please let me know your thoughts. And like I said earlier, stay tuned for the solar eclipse reading. Also, we'll have another eclipse, lunar eclipse in May. So I'm going to post for that too. And if you're curious about the astrology, you can find a lot in my community page. And yes, for personal readings, you can reach me via Etsy. The link is in the description box and the comment below. I will see you some other time. Until then, take care. Bye.